Order Tuesday, May 19th, 2020, 10 a.m. And Sheriff, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Mr. James for the invocation.
Our Heavenly Father, we humbly bow our heads before Thee this day in gratitude for Thy bounteous blessings. We surely are blessed for Thy goodness to have the opportunity to live in this free country, to have the opportunity to participate in our own lives through the political means that have been given us. We pray that we may use that right to better the lives of those in Gila County. Pray that Thou will be with us, guide us, direct us in our thoughts, decisions, and choices always. Heavenly Father, we pray for our servicemen that protect our rights, that they may have Thy Spirit to with them, Thy strength to be with them, to protect and keep safe, and to enable us to preserve the rights of our country. Heavenly Father, we also pray for those that are afflicted by the coronavirus pandemic. We pray that people will use wisdom in their interactions in public, that the coronavirus will not spread beyond minimal spread that we would like to avoid. And Heavenly Father, pray for those that are afflicted with the disease, that they may be strengthened, that they may be blessed with good health according to Thy will. Be with us this day, we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, James. Okay, so we'll get on with presentations. 2A, public recognition of 3 employees through the county spotlight on employees program as follows: Israel Juarez, Nicole Weaver, and Jerry Irish. Erica, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. As mentioned, we do have 3 nominations, but I am going to ask that we table Nicole Weaver and Jerry Irish. They weren't able to be here today, but we'd like to have them here.
Sure.
But we do have Israel Juarez, who is nominated. His nomination read, on December 21st, 2019, Deputy Israel Juarez responded to a structure fire located at Azurite Drive. Upon his arrival, he noticed heavy smoke and discovered the homeowner still inside the residence. Deputy Juarez, without hesitation, was able to get the individual out of the residence and assess the situation. Discovering nobody else was in the home, however, the family dogs were not accounted for. Deputy Juarez located 1 dog outside of the residence and discovered the second dog was still inside. Deputy Juarez crawled back into the residence where he located and rescued the second dog. Had it not been for Deputy Juarez's quick actions, this situation could have easily turned fatal for the homeowner, as well as the family pets. Sheriff Shepard would like to recognize Deputy Juarez for his life-saving efforts during this tragic event. So Deputy Israel Juarez is, of course, with the Sheriff's Office, and he's been employed with the county for a little over a year. And if you'd like to come up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to thank, first of all, just God for blessing me with the opportunity to be in law enforcement, which is something I enjoy and very much love. I'd like to thank my wife and my family for the support they give me at home. And then lastly, the Sheriff's Office for giving me the opportunity to work for such a great office. I think I did something that any of us would do without hesitation in law enforcement and or even first responders. So again, just would like to thank the residents of Gila County and everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. And Tommy, do you have some comments for this young man?
I do, Mr. Chair. I just appreciate our folks and what they did for us, and I really appreciate him, and they make us look good. I say that over and over, and I mean that. That's it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Tommy. Tim?
Yeah, I would just like to say thank you very much for your courage and willing to serve on the front line for Gila County every day. It's not an easy task, but thank you very much. And I appreciate this program that we're able to let the public know of people like you and what you do for them. So thank you very much.
Same with me. Really appreciate you and everything you do. So stay safe and well, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Erica, thank you. Thank you for so much for doing this. Sheriff, you too. Okay, moving on to 2B, presentation of the University of Arizona's Gila County Cooperative Extension Office Annual Report and fiscal year 2020-2021 budget request to be considered for approval during Gila County's regular budget process. Richard Gibson, good morning.
Good morning, members of the Board of Supervisors and other elected officials, honored staff, and people of Gila County. It is my pleasure as the County Extension Director in Gila County to present our annual report and our plan of work for this coming year. As you know, it is required by statute that we do this each year, and I'm grateful that the Board of Supervisors is willing to put up with us for a few minutes as we go through this process. You have been given a copy of the annual report and plan of work. Every year we debate how much time and how much space we should dedicate to this project, but I feel it's important to at least give a flavor of some of the things that we're doing. Not everything that we're doing is in this particular report. I have to kind of prune it back a little bit, tell them to slow down a little bit, but you'll notice from the bullets that are presented under each of the faculty people that there is a lot going on in Gila County, and I am very proud of the people. I'm going to just kind of briefly walk through a few items and let you peruse the document at your leisure. As you see from this slide here, we have 3 offices in Gila County, one in Payson, one in Globe, and one in San Carlos. Each one of those has become a hub for all of us as we work and express a footprint throughout the entire county. We focus on 7 program areas at this time. Agriculture and range management has always been an important topic here in Gila County, as well as animal science. Ashley Hall is our individual, our faculty member who covers those 2 areas. Chris Jones covers natural resources, forest health, and horticulture. I would like to split those 2 positions up sometime in the future because there is a lot of need, I believe, for a horticulture agent in Gila County, particularly with the growth in the northern part of the county. A lot of interest in gardens and landscapes in that area, and there is equally so down here in the southern part. So there is a growing need for horticulture, I believe, in the San Carlos. As I work with Juan Arias, we've talked a lot about horticulture in that particular community. 4-H Youth Development is Renee Karstens. Family Consumer Health Science is Ashley Dixon. We have a very strong faculty, and each of them are well engaged in programming. Just briefly going through the material here. This is Ashley Hall. She spends a lot of her time out on ranches. Particular times of the year, it's hard to find Ashley, and when we cannot find Ashley, we know that she is doing her job. So that's one of those things where, you know, you want to know where your people are, but when you can't reach them, you know that they're out doing what they're supposed to be doing. She's focusing on reading the range from what we understand from the clientele, from the stakeholders. They feel very comfortable with what she is doing. In the report, you'll find a block of research that has been done as far as the trustworthiness of the information that is coming from various entities, and you'll notice that a cooperative extension is one of those that is most trusted. That comes because the faculty person is engaged and has the trust of the stakeholders. We have been pleased to pick up Ag Days and repartner with local people, particularly with the Gila County Natural Resource Conservation District, who has helped fund that program in the past. We're very proud of the work that has been done in Ag Days, and Renee Carsons was here a couple of weeks and shared you with that, so I won't go any details there. 4-H Youth Development, again, is Renee Carsons. A lot of work in STEM. The mentoring program that she mentioned to talk about, again, we see Ag Days, and a lot of other individual opportunities for youth to participate together. You'll notice from all of these slides that there is no social distancing. And I would just call your attention that in 2019, we hadn't even heard of COVID-19. But going forward, we anticipate that you'll see a lot of changes in how we do business, particularly with our youth. Natural Resource Conservation and Horticulture is Chris Jones. He has built a cadre of volunteers in the Payson area. He's been spending a lot of time working with colleagues around the West, and he's also had reached out to the UA Tree Ring Laboratory. He has replaced Patrick Rappold as the Forest Health Agent. That took place last year, and Patrick moved on to another position. Chris stepped in and picked up on that, and I'm really proud of what Chris is able to do in that particular area. I feel that the Board of Supervisors can have confidence in Chris Jones working Forest Health and helping to figure out how to not only reduce the fire hazard in the sensitive areas of the county, but perhaps also find ways of making a little money off of it too. We hope that that is indeed the case. But he would probably, if he were here, cringe when he heard me say that, because it is a big job. It's a big issue, as you all know. I think I went too far there. Nope. San Carlos is a huge area for us. Juan Arias leads the team in that community. We're very proud of the work that has been done on the San Carlos Reservation. A lot of work towards nutrition, obesity, physical activity, and youth development. It is a team approach. So it's not just Juan that is there, but all of the faculty members have had the opportunity to participate in programming there, and we feel very comfortable with that direction. We're always open for new ideas on how to proceed. The last part of my presentation is going to focus on the budget. This is the big issue each year, and I know that there's a lot of interest in that. The University of Arizona and state funds and both the federal and the state are stagnant. They're not increasing. There's some reasons for that. The Extension Advisory Board, whom you appoint, is staying very close with us on that. We brief them on a regular basis, and we find that we have sufficient for our needs at this time. There may be, and I don't know for sure, but there has been talk. Maybe there might be some budget cuts coming in the future, depending upon how the budgets and the income to the state develop. I do not need to spend too much time on that with you all who face some of the same issues. What I would like to call your attention to is the grant funds. Grant funds listed in 2019 were $448,505. That has increased. The total grants now is over $1 million. Most of that money is spent on personnel that live in Gila County, salaries, and benefits paid to people in Gila County, and many of our expenditures that are made for operations and travel are also made in Gila County. So that's money that is directly infused to a large part into the county. The $70,000 that the Board of Supervisors allocates each year is critically important to us. We spend most of that money on travel and operations. As you know, Gila County is a diverse county. The roads, sometimes the places that we need to go are a little bit difficult on vehicles, so we allocate a pretty good sized chunk of that each year to paying for gas and oil and repairs, and occasionally we need to replace a vehicle. We have a lot of people on the road, sometimes at night, and we feel like we need to give them the best possible. It is the money from the county partnership that allows us to have great flexibility, and we feel very comfortable going forward into the future because of your continued support. Wanted to express our appreciation. We spend a lot of time building staff. This is one of our meetings on the Mogollon Rim, where we were able to conduct a lot of business and some training that day. We try to make it fun as well as educational. That concludes my report. I would just mention, if I could, Mr. Chairman, that I am going to retire from Cooperative Extension at the end of this month. The 31st of May will be my last day. There will be someone who will be replacing me as County Extension Director. If I might just say to each of the members of the board how much I appreciate being able to work with this board and with the people of Gila County over the past few years as I have served in the office of County Extension Director. I have appreciated the welcome that I've received from the people of Gila County, and I would like to say that working in Gila County has been one of the highlights of my career. I feel very comfortable going forward and telling you that you've got a great faculty and staff. Even the newer agents who are in the tenure continuing process have passed their first critical hurdle with flying colors. I have absolutely no concerns that going forward you're going to have a top-notch faculty, a top-notch staff. Your Extension Advisory Board are all engaged and very much representing Gila County. We appreciate them very much. That concludes my report. Thank you so much. I'll entertain any questions.
You bet. We're going to have some for you, but I want to congratulate you on your retirement first and foremost. That's a good deal. And you've been wonderful to deal with, and all of your staff in your office has been great. For the most part, there's a lot of things wouldn't be happening in Gila County right now if it wasn't for the U of A and what you guys have done. So, Tommy, you have some comments or whatever for Richard?
I really appreciate the report. I always do. And I am sorry to see him retiring. We're going to miss you, my dear. And that's it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Tommy. Tim?
Thank you very much for all you've done, and I wish you well on your retirement. And I thank the program of the U of A for all of the help that it's given Gila County. I think all of the range management and things you've helped us with is a big reason we have cattle in a lot of this area where we didn't have for some time. So it's made a big, big difference, and so appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you.
James?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, it pains me significantly to say that Gila County has a great cooperative agreement, great collaboration with the cooperative extension. We are very blessed to have you in Gila County, and all the projects that you work on are significant. So thank you for that. I did want to point out that we do further our partnership with the U of A Cooperative Extension in our facilities. We recently, in the last couple of years, expanded the facility for a meeting room here in Globe. As you know, up in Payson, our space is in quite an upheaval, and we do need to address space for the cooperative extension in the Payson area, which we'll do once the cloud kind of settles a little bit. But thank you very much for your partnership with us.
Thank you, and we feel the same about Gila County and all of the support that you all have given us over the years. Thank you so much.
Richard, again, thank you so much for what you've done, and hopefully you'll come visit us sometime. Huh?
Absolutely. Plan on it.
We look forward to it. Thank your staff, if you would, please.
Will do.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you.
James didn't explain the reason it pains him is because it's U of A. Not because they're not a great program.
Okay, 2C, presentation regarding Gila County financial data as of 3/31/2020 as it compares to the fiscal year 2020 Gila County budget and fiscal year 2019 year-to-date performance. Maren, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, member supervisors. Thank you for having us this morning. You saw most of this data when Mr. Menlove met with you during the work session a couple weeks ago, but we wanted to make sure that we were sticking to our monthly reporting. These pieces of data are as of the end of March, and attached to the agenda item, there's a narrative for your perusal. And we have talked to the Gila County Treasurer. She let us know last week that we are at 95% property taxes received for the year. So things look much better now than they did when we ran these reports. We were at 64% collections for property taxes when we ran these, and that has improved. And you can see here that, let's see here. So our blue line, following our monthly reporting, our blue line is our full year budget. Our red lines are our 2020 year-to-date actual. Our green line is our 9-month year-to-date target, so where we should have been at the end of March. And you can see on all of the items, both revenues and expenses, that actuals are behind year-to-date expected. That's great for revenue, or great for expenditures, not so great for revenue, but we explained, that in March we're usually lagging because the second half of property taxes are due in April. And that is noted in the agenda item so that you have it available for future reference. Any questions?
Thank you, Maren. Tommy, do you have any questions?
I do not, Mr. Chair.
Tim?
I don't, just thanks for the report as so we know as where we're at and where we need to be. So
We'll be
thank
back
you.
next month with the next month's numbers.
Okay.
And hopefully they look good.
Hopefully so.
Yeah, thank you, Maren. I really
you.
appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I might add that the state numbers came out for March, and the Joint Legislative Budget Committee had predicted certain drops in revenues for the state. There were significant drops in revenues for the state in March. However, they were about a third less than what they had been projected to. So hopefully that it continues. We do expect significant revenue reductions at the state and impacting the county, but hopefully they aren't as deep and devastating as they have been projected by JLBC. So I wanted to say that that's a little bit of good news in the midst of the challenges that face us.
Yeah, you bet, James. Thanks for that, because anything that is better than what we predicted is good.
Yeah.
So thank you, James. Okay, public hearings, 3A, information, discussion, action to adopt resolution number 20-05-02, which authorizes the Gila County Housing Authority to submit its 5-year plan, fiscal year 2020 to 2024, to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and authorize the chairman's signature on accompanying certification form. Melissa Buzon. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. This 5-year plan is, well, one is a requirement, but it kind of gives us our base for our Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. It reiterates some of the amendments and some of the, we must have our a plan for our violence against women, VAWA it's called, everybody's acronyms. But things like that we put in place, our payment standards for what they look like. at this point. That being said, we have a resident board now. We've been trying for years, but we have 3 people on it. They're all from Payson, and I'm ecstatic about that. So it gives us our base, our skeleton basically of the way we run our program. If 5 years is quite a ways out, so if things change, we do an annual plan for any revisions or updates or anything like that, which I'll be before the board for that too,
Okay,
if you have any questions.
thank you, Melissa. Tommy, you have any questions for Melissa?
I do not, Mr. Chair. I just appreciate her work.
Thank you, Tommy. Tim?
Yeah, Melissa, thank you for your diligence on all of these programs that you stay up on.
Thank you.
Same here, Melissa. You guys have been real busy between this and the homeless issues and all that. So everything looks like it's going good, and it's
Yep,
good.
and I'll be reporting on that here real shortly.
Good deal. Thank you, Melissa. With that, I'd entertain a motion. Oh,
Mr.
I'm
Chair, I move
sorry.
that we do
Hang on,
adopt
just
resolution number 200502 and authorize the chairman's signature on the accompanying certification form.
okay. Hang on, Tommy. We got to back up on this. We got to open up to the public for public hearings. Cheryl,
Of course.
do we have anybody in Payson?
No, sir, not that wants to speak.
And we do not hear either, so we're good. None on YouTube? Okay, good deal. Go ahead and do that again, Tommy. We'll close the public hearings.
Mr. Chair, I move that we do adopt resolution number 200502 and authorize the chairman's signature on the accompanying certification form.
I'll second that motion.
Hearing a motion in a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Okay, now on to regular agenda items. Number 4A, information, discussion, action to approve the distribution of $1,158,854.34 of Gila County's share of federal year 2020 Secure Rural Schools Act funds as authorized through Section 24 of P.L.114-10 for fiscal year 2019 to 2020 as follows. $25,000 to roads, $903,026.84 to schools, and $230,827.50 to Gila County Education Service Agencies. Good morning, Roy.
Morning, Mr.
It's a lot of
Chair,
money.
members of the board. As you already know, this payment in lieu of taxes comes every year, and it's based on acreage. And we receive it, and we disperse it. We use a formula. That's about the first time I've ever been told to get close to the mic. We use a formula so that everybody gets a base, because some school districts don't have any Forest Service money, don't have any acreage. So we use a base formula, and then we also use their average daily membership, and we also include the acreage in the formula. So we try and make it somewhat equitable with all 3 of those things considered. Last year, as you know, the ESA, we did start taking some to support the adult education program. And I will tell you, if you read the roundup, Payson Roundup on Friday, it's become a pretty robust program in both Globe and Payson, and of course partnering with the detention center at San Carlos. So it's just pretty straightforward. The schools like it because really there are no strings attached to it, so they can use it for any number of things. So many things are tied to schools. But I'd be happy to answer questions for you.
Roy, thank you. Tommy, you have questions for Roy?
I do not, Mr. Chair.
Tim?
Yeah, I have no questions. I just appreciate the job you're doing, and I appreciate our schools getting this funding to help them, like you say, without an ear tag, to where they can use it as they need, because they have so many needs.
Well, thank you. I would just add that every year and you can be aware of this, that I receive word and write letters to Congress on behalf of PILT. And it's really important because, I mean, there was a time when they wanted to strip this and never give it back. And it's just plain not fair to schools that are highly rural, you know. So every year you may get a notification saying, hey, the PILT is in danger here. Please write your congressman. And I would encourage you, you guys are very powerful, to just say how important that is.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, and I want to add to that, Roy, because we have taken that to heart. You know, I've been back to D.C. a couple of different times in the last 2 years, pushing on this secure rural schools and the PILT payment. I think a lot of people don't really think about it, but when we're only 3% private or so in our county, there's a whole lot of ground out there that doesn't belong to anybody but the feds.
Very problematic.
Or public anyway. But yeah, it is. And so I've taken this to heart. You know, we have to keep pushing on this, and we do have to keep writing those letters and supporting this and keep that money coming. Because you can see, this isn't just chump change. It's a pretty good amount of money. And when you get schools that's hurting for dollars, this is a way of kind of taking some of that hurt away. So I want to thank you for everything you do with this too.
Well, thank you.
And I appreciate that. And so with that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to approve the distribution of the $1,158,854.34 of Gila County's share of the federal year 2020 Secure Rural Schools Act funds as follows: $25,000 to roads, $903,026.84 to schools, $230,826.50 to Gila County Educational Service Agency.
Tommy, do we have a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Roy.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Okay, 4B, information, discussion, action to adopt resolution number 20-05-03, designating a portion of Houston Mesa Road as a no parking area. Steve?
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Houston Mesa Road takes off from SR 87 on the outskirts of Pace and goes to the control road. Last year, the Water Wheel Fire Chief, Fort Tono National Forest, Payson Ranger, Gila County Sheriff's Office, and Public Works met to discuss no parking along this area of the road due to the road follows the East Verde River in this area. We put up no parking signs that were not enforceable. They were just warning signs asking people not to park along the road. Those were ignored basically by everybody in the area. This year, it has gotten worse. The fire chief came back in the Tono National Forest asking us if we would look at putting up enforceable signs so the sheriff could enforce parking along the road in this area. I guess on the weekends, while I haven't seen it, I've seen pictures that it's turned into a one-lane road. Cars can't get through. Emergency responders are worried about getting through, that type of stuff. Should you choose to adopt this resolution, it would be from just past what we call first crossing to the hill above second crossing. It's about 3/4 of a mile, and it would also let the Forest Service open the day use areas along the river in 3 locations here. They said if no parking was enforced, then they would have the ability to open the day use areas, the parking lots, and the restrooms for the people that do come and can use the parking lots. I believe the sheriff's here. He could speak to the problems that they're seeing up there.
Thanks, Steve. Tommy, you have any comments on this?
No, it needs to be done, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Tommy. Tim?
Yeah, I was just wondering, when you say that it turns into a one-lane road because of all the parking,
I was thinking, okay, if you make no parking, where are they going to park? Because people are going to still go where they want to go. So then when you added to it that the Forest Service does have parking, designated parking areas that they have closed, and have they closed because of the COVID, or are they closed for other reasons?
They were closed because of the COVID, my understanding, and that they didn't have the ability to regulate that many people that would be using them if they opened them up. So they'll be opened up to the amount of parking available. When they fill, then people will have to find other areas to park. And there are other areas in the, there's, like I said, 3-day use areas right there. Prior to first crossing, there's quite a bit of room in the area. It's just people trying to get right next to the river without any consideration of the people that live north of there that have to use that on a regular basis. And it's a heavily traveled road. I believe it's almost 3,000 cars a day on the road. I'm guessing weekends probably, I don't know if it would double, but I bet it would go to 4,000 anyway.
Right.
Okay, so now you say that we would enforce it, which is going to open it for the sheriff to start writing citations for parking there, because now it's not enforceable?
Correct.
And it will be enforceable through the sheriff's office?
Correct. We tried to put up just warning signs, the yellow and the black, telling people not to park there. They ignored those. These will be the red and the white, which are enforceable by citation.
Okay.
Steve, what's our chances of actually doing some decent parking on that road so people can get in there and use it? I mean, can the county, the Forest Service, is there a way of making adequate parking so that it can accommodate everybody that we see using it? I mean,
We'd have to work with the Forest Service, but my initial response would be no, not in this area. Just due to the terrain, there's a major drainage that comes through here. It's right in the middle of a burn scar that creates a lot of runoff when there's hard summer rains. We Forest Service owns the land. We have a highway easement for them to work on the road. The Payson pipeline comes down one side of it, so that restricts a lot of people trying to get off and that type of stuff.
This is a real popular area. It really is, and the sheriff's office starts writing tickets and stuff like that for all that. It's going to be an every weekend occasion. I don't know. It just seems to me like there ought to be better ways of doing it, but I don't know what it is. Does the Forest Service have any thoughts or indication that maybe they would explore it and try and figure out something better, or they're just no parking, that's it, we're done?
To my knowledge, they haven't looked at developing additional parking in that specific area.
Okay.
Would
go ahead, Tim?
Would they maybe be willing to work with us on maybe a material pit somewhere in that area, so eventually we could clear off some parking and have some material to maintain roads too? Because through the Forest Service we try to get pits where we can get material from. Is any of that material worthwhile for roads, or then eventually a couple years down the road, as we surface roads, we'll create a flat spot?
I don't believe the material along that road is sufficient. Just south of what's shown as first crossing day use, there is a material pit up on the hill that has been used, but I don't believe there's any plans to open new material pits through this area.
Oh, okay. Is that one closed now? Is it used up?
They use it for parking, storage, that type of stuff. It's had a lot of material taking out of it, and it's pretty much.
Oh, okay. So Forest Service is using it.
Correct.
Okay.
Ooh. I understand we probably have to do something to alleviate some of the parking there, especially for the homeowners and other people that use that road, because I can only imagine trying to get through there on a weekend. It'd be tough. But I think in the long run, Steve and Adam, I think there ought to be a way that the Forest Service and us or somebody can work together to provide some kind of adequate parking for these areas like this. This isn't the only place. I mean, there's going to be other ones.
I believe they're dealing with it, the Forest Service on the road to the fish hatchery and on Tonto Creek, that while the county doesn't maintain it, I've seen pictures and heard from the Forest Service that it's the same thing there. We dealt with this probably 4 or 5 years ago at Fossil Creek. People, when it was popular, we had to put no parking. They were blocking driveways. People couldn't get in and out of their homes. I mean, it's an area of problem everywhere up there.
I agree. But I just think that somewhere in the not too far off future, there ought to be a way of looking to do a better solution than just slapping tickets. I understand having to open up that road to keep traffic going right now, but I don't think to me, I wouldn't be saying that we just do that and walk away from it, I guess is what I'm saying. I mean, that water wheel isn't going anywhere. People know it's there. They love it. They're going to go. And so it just needs dealt with. But thanks, Steve. And so with that, I'd entertain a motion if there's no further questions. James?
Would you like to hear from the sheriff?
Mr. Chairman, I guess I would have a question of, has there ever been any engineering or whatever work needs to be done to evaluate if there could be additional parking established in all the different areas that there are congestion?
Not to my knowledge, but I can certainly check with the Forest Service. It's national forest land, and I don't know if they're increasing their development of recreational areas or not.
Would they allow us to work with them to perform such an analysis?
We can certainly ask them.
And Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Tommy.
the chatter on the radio on that particular stretch right now, there are folks that live up there that it's narrowed down to one lane and less than one lane, and they have kids going back and forth across that road, and they're afraid they're going to have a kid hit and hurt. And it just kind of goes on and on with some of their fallout there. We may want to do something short term like this, and then do something else long term later.
Tommy, I agree and I understand the issue, and I can picture it right now, one lane road and kids and people trying to go back and forth. Not a good mix. And I don't disagree that there has to be something done to try and alleviate that. I just don't think that we should just do that and walk away from it. I think there ought to be some kind of a study or something done to see if we can work with the Forest Service. Maybe there's some government money out there that would help with this too on grants. So, Adam, do you have something you want to chime in to this?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and supervisors and audience and staff. Everything Steve told you is exactly what we're going through. Unfortunately, whether we have signs out there or not, we're out there every weekend anyway, simply because of the congestion and the problems that we have out there. And he mentioned the Fossil Creek example. It took a little while, but the Fossil Creek example worked, okay? Because it gave us, after we were kind of in there when we were able to do some enforcement and kind of got the word out. And of course, as you know, the Forest Service implemented the permitting system. And we were thinking about suggesting that to them for this particular use area, at least until they get this problem solved, because it is it's extremely steep on both sides of the road. There's not a whole heck of a lot of flat areas that could be cleared off and made even short-term parking. And I think that's probably why they are looking to us for this solution. But I'm not too concerned about that. It would maybe give the guys another tool to be able to operate out there with. We could get continual complaints from the citizens that live out there. I was out there on Sunday, and exactly what I was in my personal vehicle. It was exactly like they said. People just, not even concerned with the traffic that's trying to go through there. And of course, we get a lot of complaints from the other first responders about the road being blocked and them not feeling safe having to go through there. So it's a constant problem. I'm hoping that this will at least kind of start us down the road, and maybe we can get to an area where we could work with the Forest Service to get some more parking out there. I agree with you. I've been going to that thing since I was a little kid. It's not going anywhere, and everybody knows about it. And of course, it got a lot of notoriety when we had our tragedy out there a couple of years back. But it seems like that doesn't scare any people off. It brings more, just kind of like Fossil Creek does. Any questions from you about
I've
to
got
me?
one, Sheriff. So, do we have any LEO Forest Service?
I think
enforcement
I know we
anymore?
just lost another one to another district. I don't know if that was the one that we've got or if there's one on top of that one. But they're very, very lightly staffed right now. And of course, most of these issues, they're asking us to go out there and at least do what we can about it, depending on what it is. And this one, of course, with the current configuration, the only thing we can do is when they're actually blocking the traveled roadway, they can be parked right up to the line and not be in a technical violation at this point. So that's why it gets frustrating. And I can tell you the guys got so fed up with it that they kind of get out there and started getting a little heavy-handed over the weekend, I'm sorry to say. The commander had to step in and say, okay, back off a little bit. Because it had gotten so bad that it had completely snarled the traffic out there. And it shouldn't. This is out in the middle of nowhere. It's just a feeder route to those communities that are north on that road. And it has just gotten to the point where it's one of the things that the guys don't look forward to but expect that they will be dealing with every weekend. And it's just starting. The summer's just starting. So.
Thank you, Sheriff, and we understand.
There's no perfect solution. I wish there was. Believe me.
Right.
It's a great spot. I hate for people not to have access to it. I don't want anybody not to have any access to any of our forest areas. But when they get to this point, you have to do something about it.
With that, if there's no other questions, I'd entertain a motion. Thank you, Sheriff.
Mr. Chair, I move that we do adopt resolution number 200503.
I'll second that motion.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Steve. Okay, on to C. Information, discussion, action to approve amendment number 1 to the intergovernmental agreement IGA between the town of Payson and Gila County, Arizona for centralized management of 911 grant funds to extend the term of the IGA for 1 year from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Deborah Williams.
Hi, it's Sarah White today.
Sarah White's going to do Deborah Williams.
Yep,
okay,
I'm gonna
thank
fill in
you.
for her, no problem. So this is just a renewal of the original agreement that you guys approved last year. Basically what this does is the Department of Administration designated the Gila County Sheriff's Office as the pass-through agency for the grant funds for 911. So any PSAP in the county needs to have an agreement with us so that we can submit their billing. They'll pay us, and then we get it to Payson PD. So all we're asking for is another renewal of 1 year with the Payson Police Department through the town of Payson. The actual grant agreement will come back to you guys, I believe, at the June 15th meeting.
Thank you, Sarah. Tommy, you have any comments?
I do not, Mr. Chair.
Tim?
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Thank you for that, Sarah. And with that, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve amendment number 1 to the intergovernmental agreement between the town of Payson and Gila County for centralized management of 911 grant funds.
Mr. Chair, I second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, on to D. Information, discussion, action to approve the budgeted and unbudgeted interfund transfers for fiscal year 2019 in the amount of $467,519.18 from the general fund to Criminal Justice Enhancement Fund. Maren, you're up again.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, member supervisors. It's great that Sarah's here today. The one thing that I want to make sure that you all know about this is that Sarah and her staff worked really hard to identify this dollar amount and the components that went into it. In past administrations, the Jail Enhancement Fund had been charged for return to competency fees, and Sarah and her staff went back over, I believe it was a period of 8 years, to find out what that total dollar amount was, and they worked very closely with finance to help us understand what the fund was supposed to be used for, why these past charges were incorrect, and we were able to work together with Sarah and Sheriff Shepard and Mr. Menlove to come up with a way that we could restore this fund and bring it back into compliance with the way that it should be. And we're here today because this was an unbudgeted transfer, and you know our state regulations require that we come to you, and you know it's a courtesy to come to you and say, hey, we did this anyway. So we wanted to let you know that this was done. Has fully restored the Justice Enhancement Fund to its balance of $467,519.18, and now that money is available for use for projects at the jail and things like that. So we're really thankful for Sarah's help on this, and we're really glad we could work together and get it done.
Thank you, Maren. Tommy, you have any questions?
I do not, Mr. Chair.
Tim?
Yeah, I just want to thank you all for all you do to keep us in budget form and prepared for audits, because a lot of this was just kind of not available before. So, you know, all the work that you do to keep us up with our audits and our funds and stuff, we very much appreciate it too, to be able to show where everything's going and why.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, thanks for getting us back on track. That's a good deal.
We do what we can.
My question is, and maybe more for you, James, is this $400,000+ be used for the Globe facility here? Is that going to be in addition to the capital projects, or is that some more stuff we can do on the building?
Mr. Chairman, our intent, and Sheriff and Sarah can correct me, but our intent is that this is, we can use this in lieu of the bond money, so that we've planned like a $1.1 million improvement here in Globe, 1.2 in Payson, that this $467,000 would be used for those projects. And that's, well.
Okay. And that's going to set you up good, Sheriff?
Well, excuse me. Hi again. It just kind of, we had went to, because mainly we use this if some maintenance needs to be done at the jail, some expensive maintenance, so we don't have to come back to you for a general fund for that. So we had routinely been using it for that, which is, of course, what it's earmarked for. And we went to use it, and there wasn't anything there. And then that's what kind of discovered this entire back story of how the fund had been used improperly in the past. So we got that straightened out. Now going forward, we'll identify, in partnership with the general fund and the other things that we need to do that still need to be done down at the jail. We still got plumbing issues. Now I understand we got issue with the locks that need to be taken care of. All of those things are what this money is to do, so it doesn't burden the rest of the county on that. These are funds that are collected, I believe, through the courts, and for these purposes, just to keep the facility up and running.
Well, that's kind of why I was asking, because we had the money programmed for your facilities. And then you look at that, that's possibility of another $500,000 almost for more stuff we can do, which I'm sure your buildings need it.
Oh, they're both quite elderly, as you're aware, because we've talked about that on several occasions. And so they're constantly needing maintenance, and anything that we want to do modern-wise to some of the new technologies that are out there, we can't, because all of our the construction has to be retrofitted. because it's just, it was done back with 60s and 70s standards, and that's where we're at. So that'll help with that, and of course, all of the other projects that we're looking at to do. It just kind of frees us up to be able to use that in conjunction. It won't cover even what the county has got planned for the building, as you well know, but because it's so far behind in maintenance. But it'll help, certainly.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Marion. And with that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we do approve the budgeted and unbudgeted interfund transfers for FY 2019 in the amount of $467,519.18 from the general fund to the Criminal Justice Enhancement Fund.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Okay, on to E. Information, discussion, action to consider a sealed bid for the purchase of assessor's tax parcel number 305-10-022D, and if accepted, authorize a chairman's signature on the quitclaim deed. Marion?
Thank you, Chairman Klein and board members. This particular parcel is a small sliver of road in Young, and the adjoining owners would like to purchase it, and they would then go to the assessor and get the parcels combined, which would be a win-win for the county, because the assessor and treasurer would have to put out one less notice every year, plus all the other notices. And the lien amount on it at present is $363.32. And if I may open the sealed bid.
You bet. Go ahead, Marion.
Thank you. I have a sealed bid for tax parcel 305-10-022D from Russell S. Griffith in the amount of $75.
Thank you, Marion. Tommy, do you have any questions for Marion?
I do not, Mr. Chair.
Tim?
I have one question just to clarify. On my paperwork, I have 306, and I believe you said 305.
Yes, 305.
Okay, so it is 305, not 306 that's on my paperwork.
Correct.
Because that would be for a completely different piece of property. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't have any questions either, so with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I may move to accept the bid from Russell Griffith in the amount of $75 for the purchase of tax parcel number 305-10-022D and authorize the chairman's signature on a quitclaim deed.
Mr. Chair.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Marion.
And I'd just like to say, Marion, thank you for helping us with a lot of these properties that people end up getting, and so it's better for them because they have more room, and then somebody's watching over it, and it's getting taxes. So it's great to see these come before us, and I thank you very much for all the time you deal with it.
Okay, on to consent agenda action items. Do either one of you have anything you want to address or remove? And if not, I'd entertain a motion to accept them.
Yeah, I nothing I care to remove.
Okay, so I'd entertain a motion to accept those.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt consent agenda action items A through E as presented.
I second.
Having a motion and a second, all in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Call to the public, number 6. Cheryl, do you have any call to the public in Payson?
No, we don't.
And we do not hear either. So moving on to 7. at any time during this meeting pursuant to ARS 38-431.02K. Members of the Board of Supervisors and County Manager may present a brief summary of current events. Mr. James, do you want to go first? Do you have anything to give us?
No, nothing today. Well, let me say this, that I got a notice from Robin Hilliard at CSA that we need to log in to oppose a bill that regarding contractors, and if we submit change orders, then the way the bill is written, that the contractors don't have to give any accounting or any estimate of what the cost will be on those change orders, so it exposes the county to exorbitant costs on certain things. So CSA is asking all of us to log in and oppose this Senate Bill 1133.
Okay, James, we'll look into that today and see what we can do there. So thanks. Tommy, would you like to give us any rundowns you may have?
Not today, Mr. Chair. Thanks.
Okay, Tommy, can I ask you a question real quick? How are we doing on our dumpsters up there in Star Valley and the event center?
You know, I didn't get pictures of this last weekend. Cheryl was going to go up and take pictures as soon as the board meeting's over and see if they picked up and that sort of thing. But reports from people through the weekend, they were using the heck out of them.
Okay,
I
good
was
deal.
worried that we didn't have enough.
They're running over a little bit, Sheriff? Well, I guess might end up with 2 at each place before it's long. So, thank you, Tommy. Tim?
Yeah, just a Roosevelt community meeting by phone. They go pretty well. Not as much as present as being able to stand there and speak with people, but we had a meeting and we had some things discussed and some things to work on. Also on Saturday the 16th, had a couple dumpsters out at Roosevelt for the people out there in the resort and the estates area, and we filled 2 40-yard dumpsters. A constituent helped me. He had a truck and trailer. I took my truck and trailer, so we ended up with 2 trailer loads of metal for the dump to recycle and 2 truckloads of tires for the dump to recycle, along with a 2 40-yard dumpsters. So it was good, and it does my heart good to see that much stuff from an area go to its final resting spot, to know that we are cleaning up our communities and they're not going to end up in a creek somewhere or dumped off the side of the road. It's one of those things that's special to me. And Homero and I went out to see the chip seal projects that they were doing at Tonto Basin and Deer Creek, and I must say my hat's off to the boys, because they pulled it together and pulled it off. The chip seal was a success in my opinion. They did very well. It was good to see them pull together and work together to be able to do that, and I think it was a very good deal. And so with that, that's all I have. Thank you.
James, do you want to add to this?
Something different, Mr. Chairman, that I forgot about, that this afternoon we were having a virtual meeting regarding the Tri-City, the wastewater study that we had been doing. Kimberly Horn is going to present to the parties that are participating in this their findings and their recommendations. We do, if Marion will let me, have a work session next week, and Kimberly Horn is going to present to us virtually the results of that finding for the Tri-City, which deals with actually wastewater for the entire region, the entire valley here. So I wanted to make sure we're aware of that, and that the public can be aware of next week, that those findings, and they can participate by YouTube as usual for our work session.
Thank you, James. I'm looking forward to that and seeing how they came along with that. I know we've got some money into that consultation with them on this project. So, and I know it's in Tim's district and whatnot, but I've had a number of people hinting me lately about this. So that would really be good. Folks can tune into that and listen. That'd be really good.
Coming to a conclusion, finally.
Yeah, thank you for that, James. For us, District 3, just a lot of stuff. But one of the biggest things that came up was here just recently, a few days ago. ADEQ told us that we'll have the funding in June to finish the demolition of the Hayden Hotel. It'll be done. And then right after that, Steve's coming up with funding to haul the cement slab away, and it's going to look really, really nice right there. So, the other thing, I participated on the NRCD call the other day. It went really well, and they're getting officers put on that and everything. So that went good. With that, if there's nothing else from anyone, I'll close this meeting. Y'all have a good day. Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks to everybody in Payson on YouTube.
Thank you.